G'day everyone, today I'm bringing you a full solo run of the Night Aspect expedition as the Executor. The Executor has been a bit different to learn, but once you get the parry playstyle down, it's really fun and rewarding. It was a little tricky at first, but I'm genuinely enjoying it now. So here's a full, unedited, uncut playthrough with live commentary, giving you an insight into what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and a bunch of general tips and tricks along the way. So here it is. Alrighty, so this is an Executor solo run of the Night Aspect. Now, there's no weapon objectives I'm going to go after specifically, and I'll explain why later, but basically the 3 churches is all I'm concerned about for now. I do want to get an early mine, so I might go fort into the church through the mine system. We'll see. Anyway, so relics, as always, let me just remind myself what I've got on. That's right, stamina recovers with each successful attack, and starting armament inflicts frosts. Those are going to be your best 2 that I'll recommend. Stamina recovery just helps if you pay attention to my stamina bar. As the stamina dips for attacks, it'll dip back up very slightly as it connects with the target. Just helps for stamina management in general, as well as giving you slightly longer attack chains, which is always handy. It'll just help overall. You'll feel the difference. It's better on daggers, but it's pretty good. As I'm just looting stuff here, I'll keep talking to you about the relics. Successive attacks negates damage. That's one of my favourite defensive options. Getting that nice and early is very handy. Attack power and taking damage boosts damage negation. Two of the best defensive ones straight off the bat. Which is why I do always recommend just spend the time to loot things and spend time at this starting camp. Yeah, look at that. Successive attacks negate damage and taking damage boosts damage negation. Yeah. Now, frostbite starting weapon inflicts frost damage. Here it is. So see how this Executor's Blade has Bleed and Frost? You'll double up on Frost on status afflictions, and it's very, very powerful. I'll talk more about that throughout the game, but you can basically use this weapon the entire game now, which is awesome. Now let's talk about character skill. I'll just go back here, use this guy, he's a good demo. So this is my Cursed Blade. If I just hold your guard button, for me it's the right mouse button, but if you just hold guard, it acts as any other shield does. 100% physical negation, and it chews through your stamina big time. So instead, tap it just before. See that little gold spark? If you tap it just before the attack lands, more like a perfect dodge timing, you'll get that little spark of gold, and you'll also do stance damage. See how I stance broke him and I hadn't actually attacked him yet? And then you can do a critical. You'll also get this skill activate. After 4 perfect parries rather, the Cursed Blade will glow gold. You'll see it again throughout the playthrough. And you can do that special holy slashing attack, which you activate just with your weapon skill button, whatever you'd normally activate unsheath or stamp or any of those weapon skills, is the same key binding as that. So I'll talk more about the Cursed Blade throughout the playthrough, because there's quite a bit to it and when to use it and how to use it and things like that. But just know that that's how it works. You use it to guard, but if you guard right at the last moment, it's a perfect guard. You get that little gold ting. It only uses a tiny amount of stamina, so in theory you can perfect guard or you can parry every attack, rather than on most bosses, if you were to try and hold guard and block an attack, your whole stamina bar would get deleted, you get staggered, and then they'd just kill you. Oh Jesus! Speaking of getting killed, dying to some soldier with a greatsword feels bad. Let's just quickly check these weapons. Negation at full HP is not bad. I've already got taking damage, don't I? I do, yep. And lightning attack we don't need. Stone sword key, we'll grab that. Still not convinced on the stone sword keys. No, I guess I am. I get the theory. I just don't like them. In solo, I feel that the mobs are often not worth what they are in solo, and they're quite risky sometimes. If you get 2v1 with those Nox people and things like that, it can be a bit spicy. Anyway. I'll show you again the Cursed Blade up here, and I'll talk more about it. Oh dear. Little dude attacking me from behind. That's not the thing I meant to use the fire pot there. The fire pot into this barrel here often... well, if you've seen my other videos, that often works really nicely. Okay, let's get the Cursed Blade out. So now, this is one of the situations where the Cursed Blade feels really good. Because the katana, if you try and fight into a knight with a shield who has higher poise, and they do more stance damage than your poise, it's kind of a miserable fight. You can't just attack into them. Like if you're the raider, you just use your basic attack to attack into this dude, and you can kill him. You can just hit for hit and you can out-hit him. You can't do that with the katana and the executor. You're just too squishy. You have no poise, and katanas don't do very high stance damage. So the Cursed Blade kind of fills that void when you're fighting things of that nature, tougher mobs. You can use the parrying mechanics to slowly... Because if you're trying, as I said, if you're trying to attack with a katana into that shield of a knight, you're gonna get nowhere. They're gonna guard counter you. It's miserable. So instead, for knights and for major bosses and major enemies, depending on the enemy, if I'm familiar with their moveset or if they've got an easy enough one to react to, like most basic knights and think, ooh, critical strikes, I'll take that, and I'll explain why later. Yeah, that's kind of when I use the Cursed Sword, and as you'll see, you'll see me using it intermittently throughout the run. You don't just run around using it the whole time, because there are pros and cons, and I guess I'll talk about those now. So, where am I going just quickly? I think I'll go to the church, although I do need to go to a mine. I think the mine's actually up higher here, so maybe I'll go to the mine first. Where is it? Yeah, it is, because then I'll have to climb all the way back up. I might go to the mine first, and then I'll go back down to the church. So, Cursed Blade pros and cons. When you activate the Cursed Blade or you get it out, you start walking. You're a little more immobile. You start walking. Not necessarily a bad thing. It can proc all of those while walking effects that you get on dormant powers and some weapon passives, like wraiths while walking. You get the those magical rain thing while walking. Roaring flames while walking, those will all activate while you're just walking around in parry mode. So they can be a little handy synergy, although just be aware that the wraiths while walking, oh dear, that slid me under. The basic light attack out of a run, out of a sprint on the katana, I don't actually love it. It often just misses and it moves you way further than I ever think it is. So I'm just going to quickly, as you can see the work that Frost and Bleed does on most targets with this basic katana, which is why I'm going and upgrading it straight away. Before night 1, you go and get this katana upgraded from a mine to purple, and it'll see you through most of the game. Just a really easy way to have a reliable weapon from the get-go, and that can see you through the whole game if you want it to. Anyway, what I was saying is, while walking, when you've got the Cursed Blade out. Now, the other components to the Cursed Blade is that you don't get any status afflictions. So the damage will scale, the basic attack with the Cursed Blade will scale with your either level or weapon. I don't actually know, to be fair. But it will scale with you as you level up and play through the game. It won't ever feel particularly weak, but it doesn't do status afflictions. And when you're running a katana with with bleed and frost, I might do this now. I've got a key, although it'll be a bit risky. When you've got a katana with bleed and frost, that will feel like a big difference in terms of your damage output. Oh, I hate these two. These are the two I was just bloody talking about. These two are the worst. I might have to ulti to try and get rid of one here, I think. Yeah, sorry, I can't talk and fight 2 Nox soldiers at the same time, apparently. Yeah, so your Cursed Blade won't get the status afflictions, so your raw DPS is definitely lower while you've got the Cursed Blade out. That's okay. It'll be pretty busted if it did apply the status afflictions. So yeah, you don't get your status, you don't get your bleed or frost, and so your raw DPS is lower, but the benefit is that you can do nothing but focus on parry. Sorry, you can just focus 100% of your attention on parrying the boss and then still get free, reliable damage while playing as defensively as possible. As in 100% of your focus is on the boss and the boss's timings. You don't have to think about attacking. And then after every 4th or 5th parry, even on bosses, maybe 6 or 7 parries, you'll stance break the boss and you'll get a free critical. I don't think I'll take poise here. My poise is so low that I don't think 25% poise is actually going to make a difference between me getting staggered, so I'll just take the runes. What was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, 6 or 7... Yeah, so every 6 or 7 parries, you'll get a free critical strike on the boss. So imagine if all you had to do was focus on dodging, and then every 5th or 6th successful dodge, you just stance broke the boss, and you could now do a free critical. That's basically what it is. So your damage, your raw DPS is going to be lower, but you can focus on being as defensive as you need to be, and you'll still get some reliable damage out occasionally when you get the stance breaks on the boss. And you've also got the charged up special attack that you do as well, and that counts for something. So it also just means that on things that you can't attack through with the stance damage of a katana, it gives you an option to fight them without having to just hit a katana into a great shield or try and dodge around them like a roly-poly dodging machine. So yeah, it's a good option to have, and as you'll see throughout this playthrough, you'll see the different situations where I choose to use the cursed sword, but you're certainly not going to use it the whole time, because the raw DPS is just lower. If you ran around with it the whole time, apart from just literally walking slowly, you would take too long to kill most things. Certainly longer than it takes when you've got frost and bleed proccing. I think I'll take FP restoration over HP on attacks, yeah. Just to help with these first few bosses. I can only get about 4 unsheaths, whereas I'd prefer to be able to get a few more if I can get some FP restoration on attacks. Speaking of unsheath, let's talk about unsheath, which is the other reason that you can afford to just literally run this weapon, and as you can see, I'm about to go upgrade it. Here we go, what have we got? Oh, I need to get the smaller rune first, and then we'll... Level 2, lovely. So, and I think I'll just check these for anything useful. Ooh, improved crits, 12,000. So, against this last boss, my main playstyle is going to be with the Cursed Sword nearly the entire fight, and a lot of my damage will be from crits. So crits is actually one of my highest priority... I think I'm going to replace one of these. FP maybe. Yeah. Crits are actually going to be one of my highest priority passives this game, because crits is going to be my main source of... And in theory, building against the... As long as we can get to the last boss, then building to the last... towards whatever will help us on the last boss is kind of the end game, right? That's what we want to be doing. That's our end state. So I'll just check. Hopefully this is the... Is it the miss? Yes, it is. All right. Well, I've got my ulti. I might try and get an unsheath or two and then ulti. If I can proc frost first. Bang. Oh, okay. Let's just use it. Hopefully we don't push him off the edge. Yeah, oh. Oh, dear. Oh, come on. If my little legs can get up here, there's no way this huge thing... Oh, my God. Come on. No. Alright, well, that's just complicated things. Unnecessarily. Alright, let's see. He's pretty low on health. We should be able to... Should be fine. I might... Oh, no. Come on. There we go. As you can see, Unsheath, very powerful skill. So it does a lot of damage by itself. Sorry, Unsheath is what I was talking about. It does a lot of damage. That's even more crits. My gosh. That's 3 18% crits now. That's going to be really nice for the last boss. So Unsheath, not only does it do very high, just raw damage, it's very quick to activate as well, which does help in many situations. But also, the main thing is that it does very high stance damage. It does equivalent stance damage to a fully charged heavy attack on a great weapon. So a greatsword, for example, a fully charged heavy attack from a greatsword. Unsheath does the same, or at least it did in Elden Ring, at least in one of the patches where I played. Unsheath did, I think, 40 stance damage, and so did a fully charged heavy attack. So either way, it's in the ballpark and it's very high. 2 to 3 Unsheaths will stagger most basic and larger enemies, and 3 to 4, maybe 5 at most, will stagger nearly all bosses as well, even major bosses. So it's really quite a good skill. It activates quickly. There's not too much recovery time on it. So yeah, it's a great... And you'll see me using it in this. Most bosses, my strategy for most bosses will be 2 or 3 quick unsheaths as they're spawning. And I think actually I'm going to try and... I'm at 15k runes. If I can get to 27 before this night comes in, that's actually going to be a better use of my time. I was thinking about going for that buried treasure, but I think I might just try and farm up. I only need 3 or 4 more of these and I'll be able to get to level 7 for the first night, which is probably objectively the best thing I could do. There's 2 more here. Oh, there's 3. Okay, good. That's all I should need, I think. Or maybe even just 1 more. There we go. 28k. Yes, lovely. All right, that should do. I won't muck around. Pretty sure it's 27 for the... Yes, lovely. 26 even. 26 point something. 27. If you've got 27, you're good for level 7. Lovely. All right, so that's 3 crits. 18%, 18%. Lovely. And then taking damage negates damage, and successive attacks give a negate damage even more. Successive attacks negate damage, taking damage boosts damage negation. Very nice lineup of passives, to be honest, even at level 7. I might not even replace those for the rest of the game. We'll see. Unless I get something... There's plenty of other things that'll be really nice, but for the way that I'm going to fight this last boss, which is primarily Cursed Sword and then parries and stance breaks and crits, those 3 18% crits are quite nice. So we'll see. What have I got here? I've got the Stormvale soldiers. Does this mean I've got the old... is it Godric? Or whatever Godric's called in this game. Now, here's an example. I don't want to fight into this guy with a shield, so I'm going to use my Cursed Sword. As you can see here, I'm just parrying everything. And there you go. 4 parries, or 5 was that? 5 parries. And I've stance broken him. I can do a thing. I'll get an extra hit in here and then use my skill. Lovely. And then I'll just repeat. Oh, I shouldn't have attacked. There we go. We'll just stick to the basics. Just parry. Be patient. There's no time limit in these bosses, remember, so just take your time. Oh, what? Take your time. There we go. There we go. Easy. All right. So that's kind of the benefit. You can just really take your time, play defensively while still killing things consistently. Yeah, it is. Grafted Monarch he's called in this. Godric. I'm going to do 3 or 4 unsheaths. There we go. Was that 3? I think that was only 3. As you can see, blood and then critical. Huge. And I'm going to do 1 more unsheath straight into his schnoz. Bang. Oh, lovely. Alright. And then I think I'll just ulti the rest, because he gets a big nasty tail and stuff out going on here. So, tail? Hand. I thought it was a tail. Anyway, I'll get a... I'll just ulti this. Your ulti... you can use it... I use it mostly defensively on this character. Defensively / to finish fights. So a lot of bosses will have harder second halves of the fight. You know, think about, well, this boss, for example, it gets that big kind of crucible golden tail and hand that add extra attacks. Here you go, Violent Deluge of Star Rain while walking. Bloodlost Vicinity would be good, but I'm going to show you the Violent Stars. There we go. So as soon as you get this Cursed Sword out, you're walking and you trigger that effect. So, and that'll help me on the last boss, whereas the blood build up actually won't, because I won't be using my katana. All right, let's have a look. What do we got? We've got a Stone Sword key, so I might go check out that Evergaol. There's a field boss there as well sometimes. We might check out that buried treasure. We could do that war camp. There's a church we need. There's a field boss down there. Yeah, we might move in that general direction, I think, and get that church. And there'll be a field boss down the... Oh, it's the Deathbird. Level 8. Deathbirds, I would say, are one of the harder field bosses, just because they've got such a sporadic moveset. I'm not a big fan of the moveset, but also all it takes is 1 hit with that black flame and you'll be gone. Yeah, I might just know when to run away, people. Know when to run away. And level 8 against a death. If I had a Sacred Blade or Order's Blade, I would take it on, just because you can brute force them so easily. They do so much damage. They do double damage to any of the death, like undead stuff. But with what I've got currently, no elemental damage, no holy damage. Nah, level 8, nah, just too risky. No need. There's plenty of other things, plenty of other resources to be gained on the map. I will not risk it. Let's just kill these for some free easy runes. So we'll head down, we'll get the church, and we'll go to the lake where there's the field boss down that lake, yeah. We'll head that. In fact, we might even be able to go to that. There's an Evergaol right down south. Yeah, there is. We'll go down there maybe and use that Stone Sword key if I've got time. Oh. If I can jump straight. There we go. Yeah. There's also another Evergaol over the other side. We'll see. We'll see where the... by the time I'm there, we'll see where the... Oh, there's also a field boss right down the south near... on the... I'll show you in a second. Yeah, down near that little tree, there's also a field boss down there. When I say tree, I mean the flight path tree, right down far south. Let's have a look. Oh, and physical negation is going to have to be the go. Nearly always one of the best things you can get. Yeah. Now, where's this jumpy jump? There it is. Yeah, so down here, there's a field boss down there. Hopefully it's an easy one. It's often an easy one. Like, it's often Black Knife Assassin. The Flower is often there. The Flower's the freest boss. The Hippo's sometimes there. The Flower, Black Knife Assassin. Occasionally it's the Royal Carrier Knight, the Loretta boss, which is not what you want. To be fair, I think they can all spawn anywhere, but I swear I tend to see some in spots more than others. I can often kill that one down there nice and early. Now, just pay attention to how annoyingly difficult this guy is to kill, even though he's one of the most basic shitters in terms of bosses. But it's because he's immune to any status effects, so no bleed, no frost. And you'll notice that he takes longer to kill than half the other bosses, just because, I mean, obviously he's very weak, but The Frost and the Bleed are doing a huge amount of work on this katana for me. I might level up actually quickly before I go. Lovely. Level 9's not too bad. Relatively early in day 2. Being level 8, level 9 right at the start of day 2 is good. Yeah, and then generally you can get to level 12, 13, 14. Should be fairly reliable. 14's probably not every run, but level 12 or 13 every run, if you're playing efficiently and don't have too much stuff ups, should be achievable. Now we're going to grab that Scarab and just get rid of these bats so they don't annoy me while I'm trying to fight the Hippo, which is already an annoying enough boss. Although not so bad. I think they've tuned it down a little than it was in the Elden Ring DLC. This Hippo was, I mean, I'm sure you guys know if you've played it, it was the most disgusting boss. The hitbox on that charge, that grab attack charge in the DLC, grabbed you from about 10 meters wide. Didn't matter where you were, it would still get you. I feel like they've made this boss a much more balanced. It's a little easier to deal with now, I find. You can kind of just dodge through its attacks a little more easily, and they've made it. I feel like they've made the animations a little more telegraphed, no matter where you're looking at it from. Yeah. Another good tip though is just move away out when it's doing all these different belly slams. Just move out of melee range a little, even though that's not what I'm doing there. Is a good way. So you just walk out, let it slam, and then just walk back in. Because there's a bit of dead time after it slams where you can just walk in and get an attack or two. Certainly with the katana, quick enough attacks. Just walk out of that slam range and then just walk back in. 5% affinity for elemental damages isn't doing a heap for me, but again on the final boss when I'm using that holy slash, that'll give me a little bit of damage. We're not talking much, but every little bit counts, I guess. Now, if I've got time, I'm going to do this Evergaol, because the knight did just start moving. We should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. Depends what we get, I guess. I do have my ulti, so I always like to have my ulti ready for these Evergaols, because sometimes there's big... Oh, yeah, gross. This is so for a Guardian, if you watch my Guardian build, this is like the easiest. Oh man, I hate this double sword dude. He is so disgusting and relentless. And I'm going to ulti just because it's too dangerous. Yeah, his attacks are the worst by far of all these banished knights. I hate them. Yeah, the Guardian can just use their Whirlwind. These things get stunned by the Whirlwind, and he can just heavy attack them all 2 or 3 times, and you just polish off the whole pack easily. But a pack like this on the Executor, because of the poise difference I talked about earlier, just feels so bad. Just feels so bad. So I am gonna just move out of range and use quick unsheaths, and hopefully, there we go, get a proc. That'll do the job. And then for this last guy, I could use a combination of unsheaths and probably a bit of Cursed Blade. Unsheath, Cursed Blade. One thing I forgot to mention with the Cursed Blade is that, there we go, look at that, nice and easy. One thing I forgot to mention is that the actual activation of pulling out the Cursed Blade, like pressing the ability and getting the sword out, that actual activation animation is also a parry in itself, and so is putting it away. So if you get really good and comfortable with this weapon, again, there'll be definitely some value in learning the weapon, becoming really comfortable with it. It'll probably have one of the highest skill cap, skill ceilings of all the classes. The Raider is the Raider. The Raider goes bonk bonk and presses retaliation for any ability that it doesn't want to deal with, which is, don't get me wrong, super duper effective. The Raider's actually, I'm finding, one of the easiest to solo with at the moment. But this character, nowhere near as breezy a time, but once you're really good and if you know all the attack timings and stuff, it'll have a pretty high skill ceiling. The parry just adds such flexibility and such kind of flexibility and control in combat if you can do it correctly. So, anyway, just another example of when I like to use the Cursed Sword, because the parry is very nice for all those forms of stronger, greater knights and things. Jump attacks is kind of not that useful. That's okay. That's okay. We'll get this boss. Often drops a legendary, this boss. Not always, but usually. If you kill it in day 2, I find it often drops a... I'm not actually sure if that's a... Oh, man. I'm not actually sure if that's a thing. Whether... If someone knows in the comments, let me know. But if... Oh, dear. I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. The same boss, if you kill it during the night 1 or night 2, or it possibly actually just scales with your level. If you kill a boss when you're level 12 as opposed to when you're level 6, because you could feasibly come and kill some of these field bosses like the Flower. This guy even is not too bad. at level 6 or 7, and you often just get purples, but then you do it at level 12 and you get a legendary. So it could also just be random. With this guy, and I'm not giving you a good example, but generally just stay away from all that magic stuff. Just back off and let him do his weird magic things, and just wait for him to come to you. He often comes in with one of those kind of double head slams. I'm just going to get an extra little hit in here if I can, which he'll do back to back a few times. There it is, and again. Bang. Bang. Lovely. Alright, and we'll just hang out underneath him. And then in general, underneath is the safest spot you can be. Just watch out for the back kick. The rearwards kick with his hind legs. I think at this point I'm going to have to just... There you go, legendary. What have we got? Ooh, Moonveil. Great weapon. Ooh, Moog's Spear. Also great weapon. Neither that I really want to use, to be honest. Moonveil would be great, but I actually want the Frost. The Frost proc and the Bleed proc is what... I want these passives, to be honest, and I don't think I'll use them. Sorceries. It's only improved sorceries. I don't want that. No, I don't think that's worth it. No. You're going to hate me walking away from a legendary weapon like that. Although successive attacks won't do anything for me on the final boss. Because I won't be attacking quickly. I might go grab one. Moog's Spear might be decent. If I make it up to the castle in time, there's a couple of those rooms with heaps of targets. I might be able to just use Moog's Spear to just grab... Where's successive? There it is. To just grab... to just AoE like a whole bunch of them. It's such a satisfying Bloodburn ritual, if you have not seen it before. Very fun. Google it, YouTube a clip of it if I don't actually end up using it here. Very fun ability. Just going to grab all these consumables because I'm running a little low. Now it has one of these funny passives on it. Let's see what it does. How do I... There we go. Power of the... Where is it? Across here. Power of the Bloodlord. Blood loss in vicinity increases attack power. Interesting. I might put that in my offhand so I actually get that passive regardless. There you go. Worth it. Successive attacks is good, but again, one of those things where it won't be active on the... Neither will that passive, to be fair. I won't be bleeding the last boss. I'll be using the Cursed Sword the whole time, but still. Black Knife Assassin, good. One of the, I find, easier bosses. This room, often you come across the some really tough bosses. I hate the Grafted Scion and Scion? The Grafted Scion, the Revenants in this little room with all the pillars, just awful fight. You often get the Bell-Bearing Hunter as well in here, and he's a tough boss. But Black Knife Assassin's a bit of a freebie, to be honest. To be completely honest. Although they're just annoying because they jump around so much that they can take a little while to kill. But unless you get hit by multiple of those grab attacks in a row, I very rarely feel in danger from these ones. There we go. Nice and easy. Again, that's just the poise difference. The value of being able to just not be poise broken by a boss's attacks and be able to attack through them makes trading and going hit for hit just so much easier. Which I know it's like get good and dodge attacks, but you know, we can't dodge all of them for 40 minutes. That's just, too hard. All right, this chest here, by the way, if you haven't, is always, at least as far as, Erdtree's Favour, it's always a talisman selection chest. It'll be a choice of 3 talismans. Really good option if you haven't rounded out your talismans, because chances are you'll get something that's decent. Erdtree's Favour is one of the best talismans, I reckon. I might go kill this troll, because you know how I feel about pot throwers. Nasty buggers. Although I'm cutting it close for time. A couple of quick unsheaths should stance break him easily enough, and then we might be able to get him in time. Oh dear, there we go. Nice. Oh no, the knight's here. I could probably... Nah, I might just go. Not worth it. Not worth it. If I'd not dilly-dallied so much, I could have been here a little earlier. And the trolls is my favourite variation of the castle to farm. Because each of the trolls all gives a reward choice. You get a lot of like 10% healths and 10% staminas and things like that, dormant powers. And the trolls are relatively, as opposed to Crucible Knights, at least I find, way easier to kill. You just do 2 heavy attacks to their legs, they fall over, you crit their head, and they just die pretty easily. Compared to having to farm Crucible Knights and things like that, which is just, certainly for an Executor, way more painful. So, yeah. definitely worth farming the castle. I should have been there earlier if I'd noticed that there was trolls. And you'll know that there's trolls because they'll be throwing pots at you from halfway across the map earlier in the game at some point. Yeah, but there's not much to be done now. I've got decent passives. I've got a couple of 18% crits. I've got damage negation boost, taking damage boosts damage negation. Just get rid of these wolves. Oh, there's another one. I doubt. What have I got? Throwing pots. Useless. Not useless, but very rarely would you ever get any use. And no, actually, I will say it. That's useless. No one has ever used that trinket. If you've ever picked up that trinket and genuinely used it, let me know, because I doubt it. Like you might pick it up because you've got none other and you may as well, but nah, not a thing. Alright, what are we? Level 11 with enough to get to level 12. That'll probably put us at level 13 for the final boss, which is workable. Just grab a little bit of extra FP here. Now, we'll see what boss we get. These guys, which I think means I'm getting the dancer, the dude that everyone told me was from Dark Souls 3. In one of my last clips where I was like, where's this guy? I don't recognize him from from Elden Ring. Everyone's like, he's from Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's this guy. There we go, charged heavy attack. Charged heavy attack on the katana moveset's actually really good, by the way. It's a double tap, like this, ready? Really, actually, quite a good. You should use it more. But when I'm wanting to do an attack of that nature, I generally just use unsheath because it's faster, stronger, kind of just better. Except for the component. I'm just going to try and parry a few of these. There we go. Oh dear. They've got such a quick, annoying moveset, these guys. Oh yeah, in general, whenever I'm trying to do heavy attacks and stance break, I'll just use unsheath. So I don't actually use it that often, but I was using it there because I was trying to conserve stamina for the conserve FP for the boss fight. Which, as here we go, let's charge this. I'll get him. All right, getting the katana out and a couple of quick unsheaths. Ooh, oh, that was lucky. The low stance that I finished unsheath in was enough to dodge that grab attack. Otherwise, that could have gone very different. That would have broken my momentum and just been a miserable start to the fight. Nice. I might get one more in here. Bang. And let's just use an ulti, I think. No. Ulti time. Yeah, this Dancer of the Boreal Valley has got a pretty strong moveset. If you get caught in one of its slashy, swingy combos, it'll pretty well 100 to 0 you very quickly, and this should finish it off. Bang. Easy. Lovely. Yes, as you can see, a couple of quick unsheaths. Max stamina here, I think. Poise is doing nothing for me on the last boss. Like 38% more poise is not going to make any functional difference. As in, any attack that would stagger me is still going to stagger me against this last boss, even with 38% poise. So that's a dead dormant. And the surge sprint ones are kind of, for the most part, kind of useless. You could walk on top of them and do it deliberately for some kind of synergy, maybe, but for the... Oh, I didn't buy a second Wind in Grace. Ooh, naughty, naughty. Here you go, we'll get to level 13 at least. Yeah, I've only got one Wind in Grace. That was silly of me. I just completely forgot. Completely forgot. Yeah. Ah, well. Is what it is. I'll use those consumables at the start of phase, like at the start of the second phase. Again, the fight takes so long, certainly in the way that I'm playing it with the Cursed Sword, that the consumables aren't doing much anyway. But anyway, gonna run at this guy, get a quick few nicks on him with my katana, and then I'll swap straight into my Cursed Sword playstyle. Yeah, see, he's often takes a moment to think of what he's doing at the start of this fight. There we go. Get a few attacks on. I might get the Cursed Sword out, I think. There we go. Alright, so now, and as you can see, these stars are just going to keep popping the whole fight. They don't do a lot of damage, but they help. They help. Oh, come on. Alright, so one of the relics, if you go back and think about the relics, one of the relics that I had that I didn't talk about, which was an Executor specific one, gives you HP upon activating the Cursed Blade, which is when you activate the gold one, you get a little bit of health back. So after like 4 parries, you activate the gold, you get a little bit of health. So it does help. I do recommend that one. If you plan on playing like primarily Cursed Blade parry style for the bosses, that one will help to sustain you. See that little bit of health that you just heard? Alright, now this is pretty much the playstyle for this. I'm going to just parry everything, and then there you go. Every now and then you get a sense break. You go in for a crit. Easy free crit, which just means that all you need to do is just constantly watch the boss like a hawk and react with your parries. Now, obviously, it's not that easy. I've practiced this boss several times today with this character and doing parries specifically. So it's a hard boss. It's the last boss. You'll need to practice it a few times. But I am, honestly, if I just zug-zugged, now that I know the moveset, if I just dodged and used the katana, I probably would kill it easier. But for the purpose of demonstrating what this class is designed to do, I'll use the parry playstyle. Just going to eat through all my consumables there. Alright. Now in this phase, if you are playing the parry playstyle, and probably just in general, but the parry playstyle specifically, often being a little bit away from the boss is going to make timing things a little easier. It'll give you just that little bit longer to react. After that roar, by the way, is when he slowly leans over and then dashes through you really quickly. That's one where you have to parry earlier than you think, or like earlier than it looks like. That one connects with you much earlier than it looks like it would otherwise. There we go. There's a crit. Lovely. Yeah, so it's slow. It's slow, but it's kind of quite defensive and reliable. And then you use your... Oh, not when you get hit like that. You use your... Okay, when this happens, unlock on and surge sprint. And just surge sprint away. Run, run, run. Oh, one of them nicked me. Do a little bit of like sideways zigzaggy stuff as well, I find helps. Often I don't take any damage from that one though. Yeah, so what I was saying, sorry, is that being a little bit far away from the target is going to help you, from the boss, is going to help you. See, I'm dodging back there a little bit. Just make a little bit of space is going to make them a little easier to dodge, to parry. Here we go, dash through. After that roar, it's always after that roar. And done. And then I'm going to use the, as you can see, every time that skill activates and I've got a decent window, I go straight in and I use the skill. Because getting more parries while the sword is already gold doesn't make it stronger. So you just you are technically being inefficient and wasting damage every time you parry and you've still got the golden sword active. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And I'm just going to use my ulti there to invulnerable that first explosion. There we go. I'm going to expend my... Oh, he staggered me. I'm going to expend my whole ulti here. I'm going to finish with the holy attack. And fortunately, I got a crit. Alright, I need to focus here. Now, in this phase here, there's... Oh, no, it's madness. Oh, dear. I hate the madness. Unfortunately, you need to parry everything, but also dodge underneath your feet. All these lines. Otherwise... Oh, jeez. Otherwise, that happens. And... Oh, dear. Yeah, so just parry everything perfectly, but also dodge different things underneath your feet, please. No worries, FromSoft. Yeah, it makes it a bit tricky. You get different elements in this phase when the boss does those explosions. We've got madness at the moment. I can rotate through fire and poison and... Oh, no. That's not it. Oh, dear. Okay, well, that's my 2 reses gone. There you go. There's a few moments of poor gameplay for you to have a giggle at. Fortunately, I was still invulnerable for that landing, I think. Alright, not to worry. The one of the hardest parts that I'm sure, well, that I struggle with, but I'm sure most players that are a human being and not a robot struggle with, is not freaking out and getting greedy towards the end of a fight like this and just playing slow. Just stick to the game plan and do what you've been doing the first, entire boss health bar and the whole, most of the second one. Just get the parries. Oh. Okay. Oh no. Here's the dash. Yep. Sorry, I'm just focusing. It'd be a shame to lose now. Oh, okay. Run again. Run again. Run again. Surge sprint. Let's go. Unlock. Yep. There we go. I might quickly top up. Alright, we're good. We're good. Yeah, so it is a challenging boss. It'll take you a little bit of practice, definitely, to solo it, I'd say. I mean, as I said, I would probably have an easier time brute forcing this on a different class or just playing with the katana, but the parry playstyle is quite satisfying too. We've got poison. Poison's alright because it's not gonna Like, if I get poisoned, I'm just going to slowly take damage. There we go. That'll do. Oh, I missed the thing. That's right. We'll have a little photo finish. Bang. Sweet. All right. Yeah, I was going to say poison's not a big deal, because if I get poisoned, then I just start to die slowly, whereas the getting hit by Frenzy, it like stuns me for a good portion of time and does a lot of damage. So, yeah. All right, tough boss. It'll definitely take you some practice. Don't expect to kill it on the first time you see it solo. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.